Have you ever pondered about what transpired in the roughly 400 years between the Old and New Testaments in the Bible? This is a question that has sparked curiosity and debate among scholars and seekers alike. Welcome to a venture into an era often shrouded in mystery and intrigue, the Silent Years, or the Intertestamental Period. This is a period that bridges the gap between the Old and New Testaments, yet it doesn't find a place in the canonical Bible. This absence of recorded scriptural history has led to a plethora of questions, speculations, and a thirst to understand what happened during this time. It's like a missing puzzle piece in the grand tapestry of biblical history. Now, don't let the term silent years fool you. It was anything but silent. Rather, it was a time of great change, culturally, politically, and religiously. It was a time when the world stage was being set for the events that would eventually unfold in the New Testament. Picture a time when the echoes of the prophets had faded and the voice of John the Baptist was yet to be heard. Imagine a period that saw the rise and fall of empires, the clash of cultures, and the struggle of a people to maintain their faith amidst it all. This was a time when Greek philosophy met Hebrew tradition, when foreign rule challenged Jewish identity, and when new ideas and beliefs began to take root. The Intertestamental Period was not just a pause or a gap. It was a dynamic era that played a significant role in shaping the world as we know it in the New Testament. It was a time that prepared the ground for the coming of the Messiah and the dawn of a new covenant. So as we embark on this journey to explore the uncharted waters of the Intertestamental Period, let's approach it with an open mind and a curious heart. Remember, history is not just about the loudest voices or the grandest events. Sometimes, it's the silent years that hold the most profound stories. As we delve deeper into this intriguing era, let's remember that even silence has a story to tell. The close of the Old Testament left the Jewish people under Persian rule, but this was soon to change. The Persian Empire, with its tolerant approach, allowed the Jews to maintain their culture and religion. The Persians even supported the rebuilding of the Jewish temple, an act that fostered a sense of relative peace and stability. However, the world was on the cusp of a significant shift, and the Jewish people's lives were about to take an unexpected turn. Enter Alexander the Great, a young, ambitious Macedonian who swiftly rose to power. Alexander, with his well-trained army and a vision of a unified world, set out on an unprecedented military campaign. His conquests stretched from Greece to Egypt and as far as India, engulfing the Persian Empire in the process. The Jewish people, once under Persian rule, now found themselves part of Alexander's vast empire. But Alexander's influence extended far beyond his military victories. He embarked on a mission of cultural transformation, spreading Greek language, arts, and philosophy across his conquered lands in a process known as Hellenization. This spread of Greek culture had a profound impact on the Jewish people. Greek language seeped into their society, influencing their literature and daily interactions. The Hellenistic influence even reached their religious practices, leading to the translation of Hebrew scriptures into Greek, known as the Septuagint. However, Alexander's reign, as groundbreaking as it was cut short. At the young age of 32, Alexander the Great died, leaving behind an empire without a clear successor. His premature death led to the division of his empire among his generals, sparking a period of conflict and chaos. The Jewish people, who had just started adapting to the Greek culture, now found themselves in the midst of power struggles and uncertainty. With the death of Alexander, a power vacuum was created, leading to a period of conflict and chaos. The stage was set for a new era, an era that would further shape the Jewish people's history and lay the foundation for the New Testament. Following Alexander's death, his empire was divided amongst his generals, leading to a new era of rule for the Jewish people. In the wake of the great conqueror's demise, two segments of his vast empire would come to preside over the Jewish people, the Ptolemaic and Seleucid kingdoms. For a time, the Ptolemies, ruling from Egypt, held sway. This period was marked by a significant event that deeply influenced Jewish culture and religion: the translation of the Hebrew Bible into Greek, known as the Septuagint. This monumental task was allegedly undertaken by 72 Jewish scholars, making the sacred text accessible to the Greek-speaking diaspora and profoundly shaping the future of both Judaism and Christianity. But peace under the Ptolemies was not to last. The Seleucids, based in Syria, waged war and wrested control. The most infamous of these rulers was Antiochus IV Epiphanes, a name that means God manifest. His oppressive rule saw the enforcement of Hellenistic culture and religion upon the Jewish people, a direct affront to their deeply held beliefs and traditions. This oppression sparked a fierce resistance. The Maccabean revolt, led by Judas Maccabeus and his brothers, was a defining moment of this era. This revolt was not just a battle for control, but a fight for the preservation of the Jewish faith and identity. The Maccabean victory led to the establishment of the Hasmonean dynasty, a Jewish royal line that promised a return to independence and the freedom to practice their faith. Yet, as is often the case, power can corrupt. The Hasmonean dynasty, although initially a beacon of hope, soon fell into corruption and internal strife. This period of Jewish history, caught between the Old and New Testaments, is a tale of resilience and perseverance, but also a sobering reminder of the challenges that come with power and independence. The Hasmonean dynasty, while initially a beacon of hope, soon fell into corruption and internal strife. As the Hasmonean dynasty weakened, a new power was rising in the West: the Romans. The Roman Empire, with its military might and strategic prowess, began to cast a long shadow over the Mediterranean world. The year 73 before Christ marked a pivotal change in the region's history. Pompey the Great, a Roman general, took control of Jerusalem, ending Jewish autonomy and marking the beginning of Roman rule. Under the Romans, Jerusalem was transformed. The city was rebuilt, adorned with grand edifices that bore the stamp of Roman architecture. The cultural shifts were palpable as Roman customs and Hellenistic influences blended with Jewish traditions. The Jewish people found themselves in a melting pot of cultures, languages, and ideologies. Religious tensions simmered beneath the surface. The Romans, with their pantheon of gods, stood in stark contrast to the Jewish monotheistic faith. The Jews, determined to preserve their religious identity, were often at odds with their Roman rulers. These tensions were further fueled by the heavy taxes imposed by the Romans, leading to widespread discontent and resistance among the Jewish populace. Amidst this political turmoil and religious tension, the stage was set for the events of the New Testament. In a world where power was often wielded with an iron fist, the message of love, forgiveness, and salvation offered by Jesus Christ was radically different. The Jewish people, weary of oppression and longing for a Messiah, found hope in his teachings. The Romans, too, were not immune to his influence, with many finding solace in the promise of eternal life. The Roman rule, therefore, created a unique backdrop for the advent of the New Testament. It was a time of great change, a time when old beliefs were challenged and new ones were born. This period in history was instrumental in shaping the course of Christianity, influencing its teachings and determining its spread. Thus, when the New Testament opens, we find a world ripe for the message of Jesus Christ. The 400-year period between the Old and New Testaments is a fascinating study of political upheaval, cultural shifts, and religious evolution. We've journeyed through an era that is often overlooked, yet brimming with crucial developments that shaped the world of the New Testament. This intertestamental period commenced under the shadow of the Persian rule, a time when the Jewish people were allowed to return to their homeland and rebuild their temple. However, the tranquility was short-lived as the rise of Alexander the Great brought about the winds of change. His conquests spread Greek culture and language, a process known as Hellenization across the known world. This cultural shift had profound implications, especially for the Jewish people, who found themselves wrestling with their identity amidst a rapidly changing world. Following Alexander's death, his empire was divided, leading to the Ptolemaic and Seleucid rule. The Jewish people found themselves under the thumb of these dynasties, leading to a period of oppression and turmoil. In response to this oppression, the Maccabean revolt broke out, a heroic fight for freedom that led to the establishment of the Hasmonean dynasty. It was a beacon of hope, a moment of self-rule for the Jewish people in a world dominated by foreign powers. Yet, the tides of history were relentless. The Roman rule dawned, bringing with it a different kind of control. It was under this rule that the New Testament would unfold, setting the stage for the arrival of a humble carpenter's son from Nazareth. Every twist and turn, every rise and fall of empires during this period were not mere footnotes in history. They were the threads that wove the tapestry onto which the New Testament was written. They created the cultural, political, and religious backdrop that made the teachings of Jesus Christ resonate with the people of that time. In the silence between the two testaments, history was not still. The stage was being set for the most significant event in human history, the coming of Jesus Christ.